Head Chef, and we are going to be making a delicious sweet and sour chicken dish today that we're going to use apple cider, and we're going to use some hard apple cider too. So it's all about the apples. The apples are going to add our sweetness, and then we've got some lemon and some lemon zest that we'll add for our sour part of this dish. Now this dish is super easy and super delicious. You're going to love it, so we can get started. I've got a pan heating here on the stove, and we're going to get it warm, and once it gets warm, we're going to add a tablespoon or so of butter. Let that melt down, and then we're going to add another tablespoon of some oil. So we've got quite a bit of oil in here because we're going to be doing our chicken in this dish. So we're going to put a little bit of oil in with that butter and let that get nice and warm. And then the first thing that we're going to do is toast some almonds. We've got some slivered almonds here. Now these are just regular raw slivered almonds that I bought at the grocery store. Very simple ingredient to find. And we are going to go ahead and put them nice and brown, and then we're going to remove them over here to this paper towel. Okay, now we've got our almonds really nice and brown. Look at how pretty they are. And with this slotted spoon, we're going to go ahead and remove them to this paper towel. Now, don't worry about getting some of that oil in there. We're going to use this oil to cook our chicken and probably get rid of some of it afterwards because we don't want all that oil in our sauce. So go ahead and take all these almonds out and put them over here to this pan. And you can see now that these almonds have kind of infused this oil and this butter with this beautiful almond flavor. So that's just going to add more flavor to our dish. Now let's turn to our chicken. So our chicken is over here. Let's move this off of the heat just so it can sit there and wait for us till we're ready. Our chicken over here, I'm using boneless, skinless thighs. Now I love boneless, skinless thighs because I think they have a lot of flavor. The thighs have a little bit more fat in them than a regular boneless, skinless breast. And I really enjoy that because fat is flavor, so I love to have that in my chicken. You can use boneless, skinless breasts if you like. You can use a whole chicken. You can cut up the pieces of chicken, whatever you like. But I happen to like the boneless, skinless breast or thighs. So here I have some flour that I've added some salt and pepper to. So I've just seasoned this flour, regular all-purpose flour, and I'm going to go ahead and dredge my chicken thighs into the flour. Now the way I like to do this is kind of dredge all of them and set them aside and then go ahead and drop them into the pan. So in they go, and you don't want to get it too thick. You don't want your flour to be too thick on the outside. Just give them a little pat like this and then shake off any of the excess. Okay, and then once we have these all dredged, we'll go ahead and saute them on either side in our hot pan over here. So let's pull our pan back onto the heat. We've got that nice brown butter. Look at that. That's not burnt. That's just nice and brown. We've got a beautiful brown, nutty flavor to that. So in our chicken breasts, or our chicken thighs go. And we are going to go ahead and get them nice and brown on either side. So that'll just take a few minutes. Okay, now look at our chicken. It's nice and brown. Now, the rule of thumb with chicken, when you think that it's brown, then let it go another minute or so because you really want to get a nice crust on this outside. See how pretty that is? So we're going to take our chicken out of the pan and just set it aside here. Now we're going to get rid of some of the rest of this oil in the pan, but we want to save those brown bits. Those brown bits are called the fond, and they're going to add even more flavor to our sauce. So I'm just going to step over here and dump almost all of this oil out. But I'm going to leave those beautiful brown bits at the bottom. And so now we're going to start our sauce. The first thing that goes into our sauce is 1 cup of hard apple cider. Now this is a fermented drink, so it does have alcohol in it, but it can be in a dry style or it can be in more of a sweet style. So this is a really delicious drink to drink, and we're going to be using this today in our sauce. So in this goes into the pan. We're just going to let that sit, and to this we're going to add a cup of chicken stock as well. We're just going to let this kind of bubble away, then add some chicken stock, and then let that reduce for a minute or two. Okay, now our hard cider and our chicken stock has reduced a little bit, probably by about a third. You can see that it's richer and it's thicker, so we're going to add our other ingredients to our sauce. So now we have some lemon rind. This is the rind of 1 lemon. The juice of 1 lemon, we have 1/3 of a cup of some apple cider. Now this is just regular apple cider. This is the nice cloudy apple cider. So it's pasteurized, but it has all the beautiful body and fruit of the apple juice. So in that goes. Then we're going to put in 3 tablespoons of honey. One, 2, and 3. Okay, now our sauce is really beginning to get a lot of flavor to it. So our apple juice, our hard apple cider, and our chicken stock have all reduced. We're going to add some golden raisins. Now I like golden raisins. They just have kind of a brighter flavor than regular raisins, but you could use regular raisins or even currants in here if you like. And then I've got a cinnamon stick. This is a whole cinnamon stick that will add just a little bit of nice sweet hot flavor to this. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of soy sauce. Now the soy sauce will lift up the saltiness a little bit and add a little umami or some richness to this sauce to counterbalance some of that sweetness. So we're going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of soy sauce. Then let's mix this all around, and we're going to put our chicken back into the pan and let it braise for, I'd say, about 20 or 30 minutes. So I'm going to put the chicken back into the pan. In it goes. We're going to cover this, and then we're going to turn down the heat and let this sauce simmer for about 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, our chicken is ready. Look at this. Oh! See our sauce? I can smell that when I lift the lid, that steam. I smell the beautiful apple. The hard apple cider gives off this beautiful fragrant bouquet, and then the apple juice has now reduced and is really, really sweet. I smell a little bit of cinnamon and those raisins in there, and the lemon, a little bit of sourness from the lemon. This is going to be a great dish. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to tighten up this dish a little bit with what's called a slurry. So in this bowl I have a little bit of cornstarch, a teaspoon or so of cornstarch, and to that I'm going to add some chicken stock. And what this makes is a sauce that's going to thicken our sauce in here with our chicken. So this again is called a slurry. So we just want to spin this around a little bit to get that cornstarch all dissolved in here. And then take this over to your sauce, and what you're going to do is just kind of add a little bit and stir it around and get it to the consistency that you like. So I want it to be a little thick, but I don't want it to be too thick. Just to have a nice shine on it is perfect. Let's turn up that heat just a little bit, because it won't get to its complete consistency, its complete thickness, until that sauce is hot enough and comes to a boil. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Okay, and so now we're ready to plate. I've made some beautiful wild rice over here. I love wild rice. Wild rice really isn't a rice. It's actually a grass, and when you cook it, it gets this wonderful consistency, just like brown rice. So we're going to go ahead and put a lot of this down on the platter. This will go delicious with our chicken. Chicken and rice, what's better? Chicken and rice always go together. So then we'll come over here and plate our chicken on our platter. Tender chicken thighs, they're nice and moist. And then we'll take a little bit of our sauce and just go right over the top of the chicken thighs. Oh, that looks so good. You know, your kids are going to love this dish too. This is a great dish for kids because it has nice sweet flavors to it, but the chicken in there is good and healthy for them. Little taste of cinnamon. Okay, and then the last thing we'll do is come back over here to our almonds that we toasted. Remember those almonds we toasted at the very beginning? That just goes right over the top to garnish our dish. A little parsley for some color. Look at that. Sweet and sour chicken made with hard apple cider and apple cider, cinnamon, raisins, and a little bit of lemon juice and soy sauce. Delicious. You're going to love this dish.